Hey everybody, this is Derek for the Grumpy Guy Show, talking about episode number 111. Square footage is subjective? Recorded on Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Tonight's topics: no more clipping, pay attention to those around you, and artificial demand, plus some extras. Stick around, it's a fun show tonight. Good evening everybody, welcome to the Grumpy Guy Show. I'm Derek McAllister.
I'm Ryan McAllister.
So we got a real packed show this week. I've been busy taking all kinds of notes. So right now there's 5 topics in there. A couple of them could be a bit short, but who the heck knows, you know? Ryan gets rambling and just doesn't stop talking.
Mm-hmm. Sure, it's definitely me.
Yeah. So, let's jump right into the first topic, you know, just get it going quickly.
All right.
And actually, you know, as I said that, just a little side topic, I guess. I said last week that, you know, I needed to make a change as far as the music is concerned. You know, I don't know of anybody, well, I don't have any music that I can use easily without having to deal with copyright and all that other stuff. But, you know, I did find something. I'm going to use it until I either get creative and make something, or I convince your sibling to make something for me. Which I'm not sure that's going to ever happen. Nah. But I don't know. It'll work. It's not perfect, but you know, at least we got something. And it's you know, I'll mention in the show notes, you'll see, I think it's in the show notes, it's in the credits at least, that it's, you know, it's a royalty-free music. Mm-hmm. It's available for anybody to use. All you have to do is provide credits, and I have done so. Hopefully well enough. I don't remember if I put them in the show notes. I think I did, but who the heck knows? Anyway, I should probably look at that to make sure that I actually changed the show notes. Mm-hmm. I don't think I did. Oh, bugger. All right, so anyhow, let's get into the first topic here.
What do we got?
So the first topic is no more clipping.
Okay.
So there used to be this thing. It started, I think it started shortly before you were born, actually. From, I think it's at least Pillsbury. I know there's others involved, like General Mills and stuff, you know, stuff like that. It's called Box Tops for Educations. Yeah, not educations. Box Tops for education.
Yep.
But, you know, the idea is you clip these things and you save them up and take them, you know, send them into the school, and the school can turn them in for money. You know, in part, I have a problem with that because, well, you know, if these places can donate money like that, that tells me that their profits are too high.
Yep.
You know, cut the price back so that people don't have to worry about paying such high school taxes. Mm. There's an idea.
Or paying such high prices for food.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're paying for the you know, if these companies would just donate money to the schools without having to clip some stupid box tops, then, you know, obviously taxes would go down.
Obviously.
But, you know, nobody's going to do anything like that.
No.
And, of course, there's also probably someplace, somewhere, where there's a limit to how much how much they'll donate. You know, there was some company, some yogurt company that, you know, we'll donate this much to, you know, breast cancer awareness or something like that. And, you know, of course, the caveat to it was up to, And it was so easy to get to that maximum. So it seemed like you were doing a really good thing, but truthfully you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Because they hit that maximum within a couple of weeks, But at any rate, so this box top for education, they've decided to make it easier on the consumer. So you no longer have to clip this little square thing out off of the box to send it into your school. No, all you have to do now is send them a photo of your receipt. Now that may not sound horrible, but here's the thing. You send them a photo of your receipt, they get everything that's on there. So what do they get to do? Well, now they start collecting information. Well, so-and-so buys this along with their items that are eligible for box tops. Come on. And the worst part in the world is people are trying to do some good for their school districts, and all they're doing is giving this company information so that this company can turn around and sell it.
Exactly.
So, this company is going to donate money to your school. However, they're not going to actually take that out of their profits. They're going to take that out of the fact that they're selling it to people. And it's just ridiculous.
They're selling your data to advertisers.
Yeah. So they're making twice the money off of you. They're making the money because you're buying their product, and then they're turning around and selling your information. I saw that. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. It's just ridiculously stupid. So, when you start thinking about doing that, folks, taking a picture of your receipt and sending it to them, understand that not only are they going to see everything that you purchased on that day, but they're also going to be able to tell what kind of phone you have. Why? Well, because your phone is captured in the metadata of that picture. So you take a picture on an iPhone, guess what? It says iPhone. It tells what model it is, what version of iOS it's running. Even if you're running Android, it does the same thing. It captures all that information. It's all there, which means these people can sell it. It doesn't go so far as to say, well, this is the IEM number. What is it, IEMI number? I don't know. It's a number that identifies the particular device. It doesn't record that, at least not that I've seen. But
thankfully,
but they can start to paint a picture. And then when you get a new phone and you're still sending this stuff in, well, you're sending it in through the email address. It's the same email address, so now suddenly they can say to their advertisers, hey, they just bought a new phone. Come on, we have more information on this person. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
All for these multi-billion-dollar companies to make a little bit more money.
Just a wee bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, and then pass it off as, we're doing a good deed by giving money to these schools.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. So I told you there might be a couple of quick hitters here.
Yep.
That's one of them. And I think we've kind of gone through that whole one.
Yep. What's next?
Because it bothers me, but I mean, there's only so much you can say about that. Mm-hmm. So next thing. So I went on a long ride this weekend up north. Yep. It was 3.5 hours one way. But it was going up north into the Adirondacks. So, some steep hills and whatnot. Well, I'm going along following these people that are going under the speed limit in an area where there was a lot of twists and turns, so no passing. So it gets to a place where there's a steep hill, and there's a hill climb lane. A lane for slower traffic. So these idiots don't move over. So halfway up the hill, I decide I'm going to go around. Well, as I'm halfway past them, what do? They decide they're going to pull over into me.
The hell?
Yeah. So here's the thing, folks. These lanes are designed for people who are driving slower. Just because you're not towing a trailer or something like that, that doesn't mean you only get over there when you feel like it. If you are holding up traffic, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, it's a single lane each direction on this road, except in these hill climb areas. And, you know, I make it pretty darn clear. I generally do the speed limit all the time.
Generally.
Anytime I get to these hill climb areas, if I'm doing a speed limit, I don't care if I'm holding up traffic or not. I move over into that lane purposely. Yeah. Because moving over into that lane
makes sense.
It just allows people that maybe they're content following me at the speed limit, but they really want to go faster. It allows them to go faster and get past me. You know, and if they're not going, you know, if I'm doing 55 and they're doing like 58 or whatever, you know, so they're barely speeding up past me, you know, if we're getting to the end of the lane, I'll slow down and let them finish passing me because I know that they're going to end up going faster. You know, I'm not going to hold them up. And that's the way that you got to look at it. You shouldn't be holding them up. You know, exactly. It's ridiculous. You know, if it was a double lane, okay. You know, if it was 2 lanes all the way, all right, I get that, you know. Then it's on me, I can go around you. But if I'm going to go around you, you need to open your freaking eyes and not just change lanes.
People are stupid.
Yeah, and you know, I was just so... I would have hit the horn, but I had 2 fears. First is they were going to panic and swerve into me. And second, they weren't going to care and they were going to keep coming over. So, you know, one of the things that they teach you in the motorcycle safety course that I took is sometimes the right thing to do for your safety is to hit the gas. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
You know, but by the time I got past them, because we're going up a hill and I wasn't in a gear to really pass hard. So, you know, by the time I actually passed them, I'm in the shoulder that's like a foot wide. If I had gone any farther over to the right, I would have been off the road. And it's on a hill. I would have been rolling down a hill.
God. People are stupid.
Yeah, and you know, this has something to do with motorcycle because I was on a motorcycle. It has nothing to do with just a motorcycle. Plain and simple, people. You've got to pay attention to everything around you. You can't just be in your own little world. I get that the leaves are changing and the colors are nice, but you're driving a vehicle.
Yep.
You've got to pay attention to that first. Looking at the leaves, pull over, stop, get out of the car, and look.
Yeah.
But, all right.
But what do we know?
Yeah. So, another quick hitter there. So, next one. This one may not be such a quick hitter.
Oh.
So,
what is it?
On my ride up there, I suddenly got an Amber Alert. And of course, I'm riding my bike, not knowing exactly where I'm going. So, using the GPS. And the Amber Alert comes up. And it covers right over the top of the map.
Seriously?
So I'm like, what the hell? So here I am. I'm trying to, I'm riding a motorcycle, trying to pay attention. And the gloves I have are supposedly touchscreen friendly, but you have to touch just right. So I'm sitting there, I'm trying to pay attention to where I'm going and look and make sure I hit the stupid button and have my finger in just the right spot so that it'll actually touch the stupid thing.
Yep.
And, okay, I get it. I got, I'm not exaggerating, I believe that I got 15 of them. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell?
Great question.
I mean, the Amber Alert stuff is not intended to go off that often. I'm just like, holy crap. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got home, and because when I got to my destination, I was like, I'm not looking to see what the heck's going on with that. Because I was going on a hike up a mountain, right?
Yeah.
So I get halfway up the mountain, and guess what? I get another Amber Alert. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
What do you know?
Yeah, like I didn't get the first 14 of them. So then when I finally get home, I'm like, I'm complaining about it, and then, we caught some of the news, and they said where it was. And they said, oh, well, it's in Saratoga Springs, New York. And I said, okay, well, that kind of makes sense as to why I got so many notifications. Your mother said, why? I said, well, because I was in Saratoga Springs. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, seriously, I don't need that many notifications.
Yeah, that's way too many.
You get that many, and what's going to end up happening is it's going to get to a point where people are going to just ignore it. Or they're going to turn it off.
Probably.
Which completely and totally defeats the purpose.
Exactly.
It's great to have the warnings. However, to have that many warnings in that short a period of time is insane.
Absolutely.
I'm talking, it was probably two, maybe 2.5 hour period where I got 15 notifications.
Really?
Yeah. And I understand, if perhaps they have an update, they have like a description of the suspect or, a direction they were headed. But no, there was only one that said update.
Huh.
And the only reason I know that one said update for sure is because that's when I was walking up the side of the mountain. So, I'm like, come on, people. Pull your head out of your ass. It's just stupid. You're gonna ruin the service. It's gonna become pointless.
It is.
It's like car alarms. Car alarms are really pointless. What happens when a car alarm goes off? People ignore it. They don't turn. They no longer turn and look to see if they can help. They just ignore it.
Pretty much.
But I don't know. It's just the way some of these places are,
Yeah.
And I say places, it's really government agencies. It's the way that some of them are. They think they're doing a good service, but they go overboard.
But they're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
By going overboard.
It's kind of like, there's been a warning that I believe it's 2 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. They're going to do an emergency service test.
Yep.
And somebody, it was funny because somebody posted it on Facebook and I commented, I said, I remember the days when you were just you were in a tizzy because suddenly it's going off and you didn't know why. He went over and looked at the television. Oh, it's just a test. That's the way it used to be. It wasn't, oh, by the way, they started talking about this last Wednesday. They were like, oh yeah, next Wednesday there's going to be a test of the emergency broadcast system. Mm-hmm. And they've mentioned it every single day since. And I'm like, so basically you're telling people to ignore it. That's not good. When I was a kid, it was almost to the point where they were pointless because you've got them so often. But now we don't get them very often, and now you're warning people about it. That's not good. If you want people to check things out, you probably shouldn't warn them. But what the hell do I know? So, anyhow, another piece to this story is as we were watching the news, they're talking about all of the, all the law enforcement and search and rescue teams that were out there scouring, trying to find this little girl. And, and in that they included volunteers. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of people. There's police and fire departments and search and rescue, along with hundreds of volunteers. And then they end it with, now remember, folks, don't go out there and try and help. Leave it to the professionals. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Hold up. You said there are hundreds of volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteers. They're not necessarily professionals. They're volunteers. They're doing a service for free. I mean, seriously, leave it to the professionals? What the... Mm-hmm. It's just these news people, they've got to talk. And unfortunately, it's not necessarily the news people. It's the people writing the stories for them. They're just reading it. But, I mean, do some editing.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
All these news agencies have editors. They should be editing this stuff. They should be looking and saying, maybe we shouldn't tell them to leave it to professionals. Maybe we should tell them, don't just go out and do it on your own. Go to the base, the main base of the search.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just utterly insane. So many people, they just don't think. And I mean, something like this should never get past an editor. They should look at that and say, "The hell are you making these people say?" But unfortunately, editors now are just, fat cats sitting back in their chairs with their feet up on their desk.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there is an editor, a lot of these places, they cut people out, and these editors just don't have time to actually read the stuff the way they're supposed to.
Yep.
It's all about making the buck. But leave that to the professionals. I am not a professional. I am a volunteer. All right. So let's move on to the next.
Yep. What we got?
So our lovely former president.
Oh no! What do you do now?
On trial yet again.
Of course he is.
This time he has actually been accused. The judge has, the trial that's happening now is not about whether or not he's guilty.
Mm-hmm.
The judge has already stated he is guilty. This is about how much he's going to have to pay in restitution. I think that's what you would call it, is restitution. I'm not sure. But at any rate, so his lawyers, basically speaking his terms and his mindset, said that everything is subjective. Everything in real estate is subjective. Square footage, it's subjective. Wait a minute. So a square foot is not subjective. A square foot is a 1 foot by 1 foot square.
Mm-hmm.
There's no subjective terms about that. It's 1 foot. Either it's 1 foot or it's not 1 foot.
Exactly.
There's no, it's about. You can't look at a 1 foot square and say, that's really 3.5 square feet. No. It's 1 foot by 1 foot. So I heard that and I'm like, what? Even your mother was like, what the hell? How is that subjective?
How?
Math is not a subjective thing, folks.
Oh, it's not.
1 + 1 is 2. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you. 1 + 1 is 2. It's
2 + 2 is fish.
1 + 1 is 2 is the same in any language in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Exactly.
You know, a 1 square foot is 1 square foot. Sure, every place else will measure it in a metric system, you know, outside of the United States, but it's still a solid number. 1 square foot is 1 square foot. You can't decide, you know, just because you want to increase your value, you can't decide that, now 1 square foot is really 2.5. Because some of the inflations that he was doing on things, you know, for example, his apartment in Trump Tower, I guess it's actually like 20,000 square feet. That's the actual square footage of it. At one point, he claimed that it was 65,000 square feet. Yeah, over 3 times. So he's saying 1 square foot is 3. And that's subjective, folks. Now, if you want to talk about the value, the dollar value of that 1 square foot, absolutely subjective.
It is.
But 1 square foot is still 1 square foot. I don't care who you are. But, you know, that's what this whole lawsuit is about. When he needed to inflate his numbers, you know, inflate his value, that's what he did. He just had lawyers, you know, make crap up for him.
Yeah, that's what lawyers do.
Well, bad lawyers, yes. Good lawyers are going to say, sorry, can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the other thing is, hey, you know, if it was sold to you as 22,000 or as 20,000 square feet, but it's actually 65,000 square feet, well, that tells me that you owe a little bit more in property taxes, mister.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how it works. You know, if something is 3 times the size, you know, if our house was, you know, 6,000 square feet, we'd be paying a whole lot more in property taxes than what we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I honestly believe that as long as, and I say this as long as because I'm not in the courtroom, I have not looked at the documentation that, you know, the prosecution has, but as long as that documentation is real, he's screwed. You know, they're talking about the potential to remove his license to operate a business within New York State.
Ooh.
Which means Trump Tower is sold. Yeah. And, you know, depending on how much restitution or whatever the payment is going to be called, I don't know. You know, again, I'm not a lawyer, but whatever, you know, depending on how much that is, he might actually end up losing Mar-a-Lago, his place in Florida. You know, and who knows what other states are going to decide to say, well, you know what, New York got that. Let's look at what they've found. Maybe we can use that. It's quite possible Florida's going to find the same thing, where he overinflated the size of Mar-a-Lago so that he could bump up his you know, supposed net worth.
Yep.
You know, and then in true Trump fashion, he pissed off the judge.
Of course he did.
You know, he opened his mouth on
Truth Social.
On Truth Social there, and said something about one of the clerks in the courtroom. So today in the courtroom, the judge said, "Consider this a gag order. You say anything derogatory about any of my staff in this courtroom, and there are going to be severe consequences." I was like, whoa, dude's not playing. You know, and I'm just like, cool. Somebody stick it to the dumbass. I've said before that, you know, he He didn't do as much damage as the Democrats want you to think he did. He wasn't as bad as they want you to think.
Yeah.
He wasn't as good as a lot of Republicans want you to think.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, he's just like every other
He's
president.
mid, as the kids would say.
Yeah, he's just like every other president. Does some good, does some bad.
Mm-hmm.
The part that makes him worse is the fact that he just can't shut his mouth.
Yep.
And he talks, basically he's talking out his ass. He doesn't know what the hell he's saying.
He doesn't know how to shut his mouth.
Yeah. But, oh well. All right. One more quick topic.
Alrighty.
So, watching TV tonight. I don't even remember what the heck it was on, but there was something about diamonds and the value of diamonds and blah blah blah.
Okay.
And then right after that, they were talking to somebody, some major jeweler, supposedly, somebody who deals the most diamonds or something. I don't know. Said that next year, marriage proposals are going to go up by 45%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you're telling me is you are desperate to sell these diamonds to the point that you are going to artificially create demand. Because by saying that it's going to be up 45%, you're saying get your diamonds now because there's going to be a shortage next year.
Mm.
And of course, the way that he said it, he's not actually saying that. So, he couldn't be sued for it or anything. But that's the way that I'm taking it. I'm like, really? So if I go on there and say, hey, if I go on and say, hey, you better start watching our podcast. It's going to become scarce next year.
We're only going to do 5 episodes next year.
Yeah, obviously people don't care that much about us, but it's the same concept. It's like gasoline. These oil manufacturers. Oh well, gas is scarce. Okay, well it's scarce because you keep screwing things up.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at what happens with OPEC. They control like 90% of all oil.
Yeah.
So what do they do when they want to increase their profits? Yeah, they cut production down.
Mm-hmm.
It's utterly ridiculous. And honestly, I think that's a big reason why so many places are pushing for electric. I'm not so sure it's all about saving the planet and all that, because we've discussed it before. There's limits to how much it's going to save the planet. Simply put, there's limits to it.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does is it takes the money away from OPEC. It takes the power away from OPEC. If suddenly we aren't sitting there relying on them for all of our oil, well, they don't have control over us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just my take, my opinion. But,
yeah.
Oh well, folks. Sure you heard that music starting up.
Good night.
We'll see ya.